All right. Hello, everyone. I am Jed Matthew Paula from the UPLB Commerce Society, and welcome to the very first episode of Helpdesk XIV Find Your Major. So Help Desk 14 is a biannual event aimed at attending to the different needs of students from different courses. So hindi lang siya from BA Communication Arts. Help Desk has been really helpful, not only for students of BA Communication Arts, but also for those outside in terms of helping them navigate the different paths that they may take in and outside of the college. So for today's episode, we will be talking about speech communication. So I am not a speech communication major. I am a writing major, which is why I will be asking for some help from our guests today, both of which are proud alums of the UPLB Commerce Society. So our first guest, of course, is the segment producer for various shows, such as The Score on ABS-CBN, Upfront at the UAAP NCAA Specials, and ABS-CBN News Channel or ANC. She is also a freelance voice artist for documentaries, news reports, and public service announcements, and a researcher for Philippine Sports Commission in Manila. Please welcome Monica Magpantay or Ate Moki. Hi, Ate Moki. All right, so our next guest is a former intern at Summit Media for Spot.ph and Preview Magazine. He is also a former production manager for Blued Philippines and currently the marketing associate for promos, events, social media, and content for Annual Publishing, the official publishing arm of National Bookstore. Paige Jose.
Hello, everyone.
Before we move on to the questions sent by the freshmen, let's ask muna our guests. For the both of you, can you tell us something about how you guys decided that you want to become a speech communication major, and how did that affected the jobs that you took or are taking after you graduated until today?
I've always enjoyed talking to people. I'm happy when we discuss ideas and have meaningful conversations. So I knew early on that I wanted to study a course that would refine my communication skills. When it came naman to choosing my major, the classes that I took up in my freshman and sophomore years definitely helped in the decision-making process because we were exposed to the various fields of communication and the disciplines of the humanities. I I remember having a hard time curating my course list because I wanted to enlist in almost all of the classes. But as the deadline for the submission of the plan of study approached, I had to ask myself, I had to ask myself, out of all of my interests, what was I most passionate about? So I chose speech com as my major and writing as my minor because I felt like it was a merging of my interests and what I wanted to do for a living.
Actually relate sa story ni Paige na like for me naman personally, I also coming into Com Arts, I remember sa Helpdesk event, yung resident members of Com Arts that time, they asked me, kasi I was one of the freshies setting, tas they asked me kung anong major yung nasa isip ko as of that moment. And I remember saying speech communication. The challenge kasi with, especially with the BA, with the new curriculum, kasi right now, for us na baka students, since 2018, hindi na kami pwede mag-minor. So we have to exhaust all of our major courses in one track. So the challenge for you is to really curate your course list in such a way na it would fit you. So parang ako noon during that time, my thought process was, okay, maybe I would take up speech communication, but also I'm interested in theater and writing. So paano yon? Ang maganda naman with the BA Communication Arts program is marami kang choices talaga. So even with the core courses, you get to be exposed sa three major fields talaga. So for Ate Moki, how is it deciding to become a speech com major?
Well, habang bata ka pa naman, you already know eh. For some reason, you already know what you're good at. Especially pag communication skills. Kasi ano yan eh, mahirap talaga ituro. It's kind of a gift in a way.
Yes,
where
yes.
I speak so much better English than my peers, and I And wala akong reason for that. Like when people ask me, how do you get this accent? And sabi ko parang, I don't know. I just watch TV. Like I didn't go out to the United States when I was younger. I just kept watching TV. Tapos ginagaya ko lang, and then, I sumasali sa mga declamation contest. You don't have to be in college to know what it is. Kunyari, as a communication, if you want to choose between writing and speech com, you see how, your life's kind of, kung anong pace meron ka.
Yeah.
And in my case, it was really because I was talking so much differently from my peers. And this includes my peers in college. I was like, oh, maybe it makes sense if I take up communication. It's not really about if I'm choosing between writing or speech com. It was about, I knew early on that people listened to me.
Another factor would be our childhood interests. So I remember back in grade school, I would join contests like interpretative reading, declamation, extemporaneous speaking. So I had the guts to speak in public and make people listen because, like what Ate Moki said, I was blessed to have a voice, and the speech com major gave me the opportunity to amplify.
Yeah, that's a very nice point. Because for some reason, unlike other courses, if whenever friends would come to me and they would ask me na, ayun, nahihirapan silang pumili ng major nila, for some reason, ang advice lang na mabibigay mo is to always look inside you. Like, ano bang gusto mong gawin? I was really sure coming into this course na magsi-speech communication major ako. Kasi before this, and in high school, I was, also joining declamation contest, speaking always in front, madaldal ako naturally. But then, nung nagkaroon ako ng identity crisis, sabi ko, okay, who am I? Like, I went back to my childhood, and dun ko na-realize na what I really love doing is reading stories, writing stories, telling stories, and basically that's how I discovered na, oh, okay, maybe I should take writing instead. What's beautiful about com arts, it's a very universal thing. Hindi lang siya nasa iisang lugar. Like you can always, there's always a place for you kasi there's always a need to communicate. For the questions, we asked several freshmen to send their questions, so we would be reading this one by one and then asking the opinions and answers of our guests. So the first question is ito: does speech communication include broadcasting?
So of course it does. It does. But then you won't if you get into it trying to be on cam, then you're already losing yourself. You need to write great news reports first.
Yeah.
So to build up to that, you need to have good grammar and you need to have a hold of the medium. So it doesn't mean, again, that dahil lang speech com ka, you're only gonna focus on how you say the words or how you pronounce the word. Uso yan, di ba? Magko-correctan pa online. It's like, this is how you say the word. No, that's the British way. Like, wala nang ganun ngayon.
True.
The more important thing right now is to tell your story properly. What is the story? Who are the main characters? And, especially in the era of fake news, we need better storytellers.
Yeah.
No, not readers. Anybody can read. To completely separate the skill of speaking and writing is for naught. If your goal in broadcasting is to be a newscaster or a reporter, then you need to write your own scripts. If you want to get into broadcasting, first of all, you need to write properly because yun yung unang task.
Kumbaga, it's really more than standing in front of the camera lang.
I would advise is to get the teleprompter app on your phone. and read the news in that way. So I have that app for a bit because sometimes I want to see how I look, because yun din, have you seen yourself on cam? Like, what are you wearing? May ganun din eh. It's not just, not just because you're reading it. There are so many factors that get into it. Like, yes, you see just one person in front of the camera.
In speech communication, sa course natin in BACA, we are not taught to just go in front and speak. Like, we have courses in rhetoric, we have courses in different kumbaga like pinaka foundations na would not only teach you kung ano sasabihin mo, but kung paano sabihin yung sasabihin mo, but also kung ano yung mismo sasabihin mo. Kasi more than how you speak it, what's important is kung ano yung sinasabi natin, especially at a point right now we're in andame, like it's like oversaturated na yung content, digital.
That's what I always tell my team, it's not because there's so much information that you're going to just tell people go online. The actual irony is that you have access to all the information that you don't want information. So people still want streamlined information.
Isa siya sa mga pinakamalaking challenge na kinakaharap natin as of right now. How about for Paige? Would you want to add something?
Sa ibang industry naman, like sa magazines, and time is still of the essence there. So, diba? How does parang information? How does the magazine still play a part? Or kahit hindi magazine, but like lifestyle writing, or yung hindi news naman.
My career experience so far has been in the marketing aspect of the publishing and entertainment industries. My work includes organizing events and spearheading campaigns to introduce new products. Interpersonal communication is crucial in getting the job done because it involves a lot of coordination with so many people. And what I've realized is that you're borrowing the time of others. So whatever it is that you're saying, it has to be worth their while. That's something that you should always remember. In my case, I immerse myself in every stage of the product development, and I research the target market. So what I need to say comes naturally to me regardless of who I'm talking to. I can also do whatever is asked of me, like acquire sponsors to help defray costs or host events, because I prepared for it. So preparation is key, and the SpeechCom major will instill that in me.
Yung maganda yung word na ginamit kanina ni Ate Moki, yung streamlining. I think that basically sums up everything. Na like the task for us communicators right now is you have all of these information. So paano mo sila i-deliver to your audience in the most effective pero most time efficient way. Outside of being, a writer or a speaker or a theater actor, all of you guys, lahat tayo, we're just all communicators, and in essence, our job is to communicate. And right now, communication is really, parang it's proving to be
more important
than ever, na especially at this time. So I think the first question actually somehow answers the second one. So they may question din tayo na, can I be trained in SpeechCom about my broadcasting skills even if I don't have a background about it? So as said earlier, walang masyadong like actual broadcasting in the BACA curriculum, but what's nice is that yung mga steps that you have to take into bago ka makapag-broadcast, matuturo yun sa'yo. In the course of your speech communication career in college, what specific skills or aspects that are developed sa inyo?
I appreciated the research and preparation that was required before you were allowed to actually speak in public, whether it be for a class or for an org event. And that's not going to change after you graduate because you still need to research and prepare when you're already in the workplace. So ayun, the value of research and preparation has just been embedded in me because of the SpeechCom major track. During meetings, you'll be surprised at how effortlessly you say that schwa and rolling R sound. Kasi paulit-ulit mo siyang inaral at ginagawa nung undergrad ka pa. So, slay me, voice and diction.
Na-appreciate ko yung totoong exercises, yung breathing exercises and tongue exercises. Because I still do that now. Aside from, hydrating yourself because you need that. But also that sa SpeechCom ko unang yung talagang chine-check ni ma'am yung dila mo where it's placed. Pinadalan niya kami ng lapis For example, so this pencil, and I still do this. So pag hindi masyadong stretched yung if I know my lips are kind of parang hindi na practice or hindi ako masyadong sasalita for like 3 days and then I have to read something. So what I do is like I put it here and then I speak. So yun. Which one of the ways yan. Para ano siya, hila. So that's one. Aside from yung ganyan. You still do that, right? Yung ganon. Yeah.
So, meron tayong question. Sabi niya, which is better for introverts? Speech communication or writing? If I take writing, meron pa rin bang mga job opportunities na madami waiting for me beyond college?
I believe we shouldn't stereotype people because for me, personality and skills don't necessarily dictate a person's potential and capabilities. And we also need to change this mindset that majors limit career opportunities. Regardless of your major, kasi the backup program will provide training opportunities for you to maximize, and it will be up to you how you're going to apply what you've learned.
Tulad ng sinabi natin kanina, di ba, what's beautiful nga with ComArts, it's a very universal course. Kahit sa ka magpunta, there will always be a need for a communicator. So regardless of your major, definitely, meron kang pupuntahan. Pero for Ate Maki naman, ayan, anong thoughts mo with the whole introvert, extrovert thing?
Well, actually, introvert ako eh. But then it's so ironic because my skills are for performer. So, for all this time, what I do is parang laging behind the scenes. Laging production assistant, executive producer, segment producer, writer, ganyan. Dun talaga ako nag-niche. This is a building up of your skills. Like, pagpapatong-patongin mo siya. Kunyari, di ba, nagkaroon ka na isang viral tweet. No, like isang viral video. And then you decide, oh, I have a talent in making viral videos. But then to keep the people interested, you need to, find out what's trending. Ano ba yung ngayon? And then to be able to ride that hype, you need to be able to write. You have to be able to paano mo sasakyan yon?
Research pa din, like that's a very important thing.
Basta ngayon yung social media, it's a whole new industry, and if you want to really parang explore your skills and you're an introvert, you should check itong mga social media tools that are available to you.
I think what people usually forget then is that skills and personality are two different things, no? In ComArts, you are encouraged to like sobrang welcoming basically ng community natin doon, that people lahat ng tao doon are colorful in their own way. If you take speech communication major ba, what are the possible career opportunities kaagad when you go after you graduate?
The possibilities are endless. And I'm not exaggerating because all industries need communication specialists. I have friends who also studied communication in college who are now in industries like advertising and public relations, government and social work, mass media, the academe, and that's just to name a few out of a long, long list of possibilities for you. I mean, you can even go to law school after graduation, diba? You will be equipped with such a diverse skill set, and hopefully, when the time comes, you will have the freedom and confidence in planning and starting your career.
What's gonna be readily available to you? Spaces in the education sector, in government, yung mga social media sa government, yan. And then I went into broadcasting, but I went as PA. And what that means is researcher ng videos, researcher ng mga pictures na ipapakita. Don't go parang raring, proving yourself agad-agad. And this ties into, if you want to really maximize an opportunity presented to you, whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, build a reputation where people can trust you to do the work.
You also need to be self-aware and be open to learning. For me kasi, more than anything else, your work ethic and attitude will play a big part in your professional and personal development. So don't worry too much about the possible job opportunities after graduation. There will be a perfect job for you. So remember to also dedicate time in building your skills and developing a good work ethic, because those are very important as well.
Don't miss out on what's happening in front of you just because you're paying attention too much on the future. Ang worry ko lang is these kids who are already parang inundated na nga with information are focusing too much on the future, that they don't pay attention to what's happening now. So you have to develop your skills, and the only way to develop your skills is to be in the present.
So actually, that is the last question for this episode. But before we end this episode, let's ask muna Paige. Do you have any advice for the future speech communication majors?
Just enjoy the course because the whole experience is unrepeatable. To be honest, it's not going to be smooth sailing. But no matter what happens, finish the course. It will be worth it. There will be moments of frustration, but I want to assure you as early as now that those will help build your character. Most importantly, always stay updated with what's happening in our country and in the world. Kasi doon mo malalaman paano mo magagamit ng maayos yung mga natutunan mo. Kailangan nating maging mulat, malay, at nakikisangkot sa lipunan, di ba? When you're well aware and informed, you will know how to effectively and concretely apply what you've learned and how to influence positive change in the community.
For Ate Moki, any advice to the future speech communication major?
Find a way to enjoy the course because marami namang matututunan eh. When you parang hate yourself and then you're gonna not learn anything. So it's better that you're there. Wag mo na tingnan yung trabaho. Pay attention to the skills. Not skills as in speaking skills or skills as in writing skills. Pay attention to organizing your life. Because I trust that when people get into the program, they really know how to speak and they really know already how to write. But yung streamlining your skills. If you don't appreciate the course, just look at how fake news has literally changed society and has threatened democracy and literal industries, has installed dictators. Talking to the mass public is the most important skill that you could learn.
It's one of the most wonderful lessons that I learned sa aking rhetoric class under Professor Carson, whose speech com 101 is that communication has the power to change the world. So once again, thank you to our guests, Monica Magpantay and Paige Jose, for joining us in the conversation for speech communication. So that's it for the first episode of Helpdesk 14. Tune in on October 29, Thursday, for another episode featuring my major, writing. So exciting, no? Don't forget to also follow us on Facebook and Twitter at UPLB 𝐏𝐚𝐬𝐧𝐢𝐚. So once again, I am Jed Matthew Paolo from the UPLB 𝐏𝐚𝐬𝐧𝐢𝐚 Society, the official academic organization for UPLB Communication Arts students. Bye!
Thank you, Freshies.
Bye!